Alright, so she said y'all about to know the real her. She got the snacks on the table. You wanna know the real her? What you said you were what?
Big bag.
A big bag? Alright, so we're gonna start this off, right? And you're gonna tell us your name. You're just gonna introduce yourself, and then we're gonna play a game. So.
A game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't say my real name.
You can say what you want to say.
My name is Amelia, and my nickname is Millie. That's my real name, Millie. But my real name is Amelia.
So, like, before the game, though, whose daughter are you?
Courtney.
And who else?
Oh, Malcolm.
But you gotta say that shit with your chest a little bit. That was a little Courtney.
Malcolm.
Alright, we about to play the game real quick. It's called Would You Rather.
Okay.
So, would you rather turn into a alien from Space Jam every night or turn into E.T.?
Who is E.T.?
Oh, I'm showing my age. She said, who is E.T.?
Can I look it up?
E.T. Phone Home. You know who that is?
E.T. from home?
E.T. Phone Home. What's E.T.? Like a zombie or some shit? What is he? Yeah. Oh, yeah, alien, duh.
E.T. from where?
He's just E.T.
Oh, a alien thing.
What's it called? Extra. Yeah. Oh, why? Well, anywho, you'd rather be an alien. He ugly as hell. Did you look him up? All right. Would you rather be as tall as you are wide, or as wide as you are tall?
What's that?
Would you rather be as tall as you are wide, or
So
as
that-
wide?
So
as
my height, but wide.
Mm-hmm.
Or as wide as I'm tall?
Mm-hmm. But wide and short, I guess.
Wide and short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to be wide and short?
I would rather.
So you want to be Rasputia? Okay. Would you rather swim everywhere you go or bear crawl?
Bear crawl.
Would you rather shake hands with yourself every time you meet someone or offer your foot to shake as a handshake?
My foot. That seemed fun.
Alright, just one more. Would you rather steam out your ears like a train every time you're mad or bark like a dog when you're excited?
Steam out my ears. I already be feeling it though. You don't feel that when you mad?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And my heart be racing like...
So I'd rather other people see it too so they can know not to bother me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Anywho, so we about to get into the, so you want to tell us, because you mentioned earlier, you said you who daughter?
Courtney.
And who?
Malcolm.
Say that with your chest.
Malcolm.
So tell us your relationship with your dad. What's
My
that
relationship?
like? Yeah, what was that like?
It was good.
You was a daddy's girl?
Yes.
So tell us, like, what that shit was like. Like, when
How
you see your father, how you feel? Like, when you're around him, like, what you feel like?
I felt good. Like, that's my father.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody had fathers.
Right.
And it's like, I could say that's my father. Because
Right.
he was around.
Mm-hmm. And what y'all used to do together? Like,
Shop.
Shop? That's one of what's your favorite memory with him?
My favorite memory?
Yeah.
When I would wake up in the middle of the night and he would have extra double stuffed Oreos. You know what those are? Like the real big stuff ones. And there'd be like 2 glasses of milk. One for me and one for him. We would just be dipping it and eating it.
Y'all Santa Claus. You said we used to be dipping it.
It would be at like 2 o'clock on the school night too.
Oh,
but
shit.
I get to sleep.
Oh.
She wasn't supposed to know that. But I get to sleep.
That's where you came from.
I get back to sleep, but it's like, that's what was happening.
I'm about to stir the pot a little bit since your mother in the room. Who your favorite parent, your mother or your father? Who your favorite?
Who was my favorite when I was younger?
Whatever.
Or right now?
Well, when you was
When
younger,
I
who
was
was your
younger?
favorite?
My father.
Why he was your favorite?
Because it's my father. He was more fun.
Yeah, your mother
Yeah.
boring.
No, she's not boring now. But when I was younger, she was boring.
Damn. What you think she would have said, right, if she knew about that stuffed Oreo shit at 2 a.m? How you think that would have went if your mother was there?
She was mad.
And how your father would have handled that?
Chill out. Your vibe, mommy. Your vibe.
You was one of them kids that, like, when your father getting on your, I mean, not your father, when your mother getting on your nerves, you telling your father about it?
Yeah.
And did he used to tell on you? Or, like, come at her
Sometimes he would. Sometimes he would tell him yes.
Alright. I'm gonna stir the pot one more time. Because they watching. Who your favorite uncle?
My favorite uncle on what side? My father's side?
Yeah.
We should all know this, though.
I don't know, so you gotta tell me.
Uncle Big One.
Wait, I knew you was about
Like, we should all know this.
Why he your favorite?
Because, he reaches out and not even like to buying stuff because, you know, that's not really the materialistic thing is not the most important thing. But he does spend time with me more than my other uncles. So yeah.
Wait, how old are you, first of all? Because that was big that you said that. Like,
I'm
he
16.
reaches out.
Yeah.
That's big. Like, you know, kids don't be really like, they don't know, they don't pay attention to stuff like that. So it matter where to say that. Like, oh, he reach out. Calling me, because usually a kid would be like, "Oh, he bought me everything." Like for you to say really like he reach out and that's what make him your favorite. Like,
yeah, I'm 16 though.
Yeah, but still, like, oh, so you ain't no kid. She told me, she said, I'm 16 though.
Yeah, but
you'll still see a 16-year-old today be like,
yeah,
he's my favorite because he buys me Roblox or he buy me sneakers or you know stuff like that. So for that to be the reason, it's like he reach out to you. That's a big thing because people don't realize, like, because you are young, they probably think that's not important. Like, I just buy her some shit or whatever.
And then dip, yeah.
Yeah, so that's, shout out to Uncle Big. Mic check 1 2. You're not my favorite uncle, though, because you're not my uncle, but you're my favorite little brother, though. I think he older than me, but that's cool.
He getting there.
He's still a little brother.
Sorry, he is, though.
But, yeah, so, you said your father was your favorite parent coming up. Or whatever like that. So, like, because he was your favorite, right? Considering, you know, your father not here now, how do you deal with that today? Like, being 16, because you was a kid, right, when this happened. So, being 16 today, like, how's that for you?
I mean, it was, alright. It was hard because I was 10, and then I got my menstrual, I was 10. I was having, like, bumps on my face, and I was kind of ugly.
Shut up.
So it was all three of them things.
Your skin is flawless today, okay?
Yes, I know.
Zoom in on that.
I do better.
Anyway, go ahead.
I do better now, but like before, it was like so much things. And then it was like seeing my mother do it by herself. It was hard for me to see because it was like when she was going to college and stuff, I would be with my father. But now she got to like really like, you know.
Yeah.
Even though she was already doing it, she got really, like, just hands-on raise me because there was no other father figure for real. At first it was, but then it started not to be. So then now she got to be a father, too. It is hard.
Right.
Yeah.
So being a kid, though, like, when that happened, how would you say, like, because you are a kid at the time, so it's like,
yeah, I was 10.
People don't think that kids go through stuff. People don't think, like, stuff like real life shit affect kids, and they do. So how would you say you was affected like by his passing?
I didn't want to like talk about it. I still don't talk about it, especially with my mother. I don't know why. I know that it's a very touchy topic for my mother more than me, so I don't like talking about stuff like that with her, like my father passing and stuff like that. And I don't like talking about my feelings for real.
Right.
So, at the time, I didn't want to talk about it. Like, anytime anybody asked me, oh, you okay? Yeah. Like, you good? Yeah. Like, that's what I'm going to say. Even when I was going to therapy and stuff like that, I didn't really want to say nothing to the lady.
Right.
Like, it was at a point she could, like, get me to say stuff while we play a game. Like, we had to multitask.
Right.
So, I wasn't really saying nothing. But in my head, I was going through it by myself. Not by myself, but like, you know, thinking about it all the time. Like, dang, I see other kids with their fathers. Or like, other kids will be like, oh, you know, they don't have a father, but now I actually don't have one. Your father's still alive, but I don't have one at all. So, seeing other kids with their fathers and they like, daddy, all that other stuff, I'm like, dang, I can't do that no more. So, it was hard for me. But I'm good now.
What was therapy like? Because you're actually the first teenager. Let me stop calling you a kid. You're the second teenager that I interviewed, right? And when I interviewed her, I think she was 12 at the time, 12, 13. Her father passed too. And she was saying she hasn't gone to therapy. She talked to, like, her school counselors and stuff. But she's never, went through real therapy. It was more so her going through to the counselor, kind of just telling her business. You know how that be with a counselor. Yeah. It wasn't really like a, so this is how I feel, blah, blah, blah. So how do you feel like therapy has helped you, like, cope with everything?
I don't even think it helped me for real.
Word?
Yeah, it didn't help. But even the counselors, like, when I would talk to them, I always felt like they would tell my mother because they have to.
Right.
Like, if I was to say something like, this for instance, not in real life, but if I was to say something like, oh, I want to kill myself, they going to tell my mother.
Right.
So it's like, I felt like everything I was telling the counselor, they was going to tell my mother.
Not everything, though. Mother. That, yes. But it should be confidentiality, so they shouldn't have been telling your mother everything.
I just didn't really trust them for real. So I would talk to them a little bit, but it wasn't like really, I'm in there crying, like bawling out crying. I really trusted, like, well, when I got to high school, I really started trusting my teachers.
So would you just say, like, Tom kind of helped you rather than the therapy thing?
Yeah. Like, talking to other people, it did not help me. That's not really a coping skill for me. It is with certain things, but just not with this topic.
Right.
I like to just think about it myself.
And did you have, like, any friends that you would talk to about it, or were you really closed off and just really didn't talk about it up until the point where you kind of had to a little bit when you went to therapy? Did you have friends that, you opened up to about how you felt? When
I was younger, no. But when I start, like, 8th grade, that's when I start telling my friends and stuff like that. Like, not all my friends, but my friends that I thought that I could trust. And, that was I felt better after telling them how I felt about it. But when I was younger, I wasn't telling my friends.
And do you got, like, social media at all?
Well,
no. Back then, actually.
Back then?
Yeah. Because I know some kids, right? Actually, the little girl I was just telling you about, she was kind of saying the same thing, like how she was with her feelings. But what she did do a lot was post, because she had, like, Instagram, so she'll post, like, her father with a long paragraph. And that'd be how, like, people know how she feel, basically.
Yeah.
So did you had nothing like that? Like, you didn't?
Nah. I wasn't, see, I'm not even a social person for real. So social media is in the word. It don't really go with me.
So earlier you mentioned, right, like, you ain't really like to talk to your mother about it because, how. Was it more so like you didn't want to see her sad, or did you feel like what she would say might make you sad?
Both.
Both?
Yeah. I don't like seeing my mother sad. Because sometimes she be crying and I'll be like, what do I even do?
No, it be like that, yo. Like, I swear to God.
What do you want me to do? Like, I be like wanting to comfort her, but I know when she try to comfort me, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate when she try to comfort me. I'm a Cancer and a Leo. Like, I'm on the cusp.
When your birthday?
July 22nd.
Oh, right. Because you sound like you're a Pisces. That's me as well. Like, I'm
the water sign.
Wait, you said you were what?
Cancer.
Oh, yeah, you are a water sign.
Cancer. Yeah.
That's why. Because that's exactly how I be. I don't like that shit. If I'm, like, sad or something, get away from me. Like, because I don't know, make me feel a little weak a little bit. Like,
I don't like that. But I know that she likes it, but I don't be wanting to do that because I be feeling like, what if I was in her shoes? So I'd be like, it's okay. Like,
yo, why she just like me, bro? She just like me. Yo, so you and your mom, it's just y'all now, right? So now that you're older, would you say, like, y'all able to talk about these things now? Like, has it gotten better as far as, like, you being able to express yourself to her, or even to see her, going through, let's say it might be his birthday or something, and she might, be down that day. So now that you're older, what is it like?
It's better because I see my mother, she loves, like, expressing herself and, like, she's very open, but I'm very closed. Right. So when days
you're a Taurus, right?
Oh, right. You could tell, right?
That's why.
So when stuff like that happens and it comes up, I will, like, talk to her. I will try to be open as much as I can to her. But it has gotten better because it was at one point I didn't want to talk about it, but now I can. Like, even today we was talking about it. I was a little bit uncomfortable, but I still was saying stuff.
And what was uncomfortable? Like, what you was uncomfortable about? The topic or just your feelings? Like, what part made it uncomfortable?
Like, talking about how I feel for it. Yeah.
Which, like, you could tell us what you feel like? Or
what I feel like now?
Like today, yeah.
What I feel like today? I feel normal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't have, like, no moments where you might feel like, again, like, it's his birthday, I feel like, damn, today. Like, you don't ever have your moments because, you know.
I do.
You know, grief is forever. So when most people feel like, all right, it was the funeral, it's over now. But, you know, the family usually is the one over time, especially you as daughter. So it's like, you're going to have to deal with that over time. So
I do have my days, even when it's not his birthday and stuff like that. Like, I would just be waking up thinking about him, and then I just cry, like, on the random. And it'll just come out. It wouldn't be like, you know, it'll just come out. Right. And I'd be very confused, like, why am I even crying about this? But I had to think about it. Like, I kept it in for so long, I had to cry it out. But then I tell my mother, and she'll comfort me and make me feel better. And then she would, like, show me, like, a special moment about him that we start laughing and stuff. So I do have my days, but it's not like all the time frequently. How it used to be. I would just like be in my room, because I always have my own room. Right. I just be in my room like middle of the night probably crying, but nobody would know.
Going back to, all right, so the last episode, right? I interviewed my friend, and we were talking about her brother. So she said her brother passed from drug overdose or whatever like that. So she was saying her son was really affected by it, and she didn't know, because I think he was probably 11 when it happened, and he ended up saying in school that he wanted to kill himself. So she didn't even think that him saying that had anything to do with her brother until, you know, she ended up finding that out. So the people told her, like, basically, he cries when he's alone. He cries when everybody's sleeping. He cries when, you know, she's not around or whatever. And his reasoning was because he never see her cry about it. So he felt like it wasn't the right thing to do to kind of, like, express his feelings. Would you say you felt like that at a point? No. Because
she always did it. My mother always expressed herself.
No, I'm saying for you, though. Like, did you ever feel like,
that
damn, if I say this, it might make her sad with expressing herself?
Yes. You put it that way, yes. Yes.
So what would you say it's like, because we was talking earlier, y'all don't know, but we know in the room, like, you do have uncles or whatever. So what is that like? Because you don't have your dad and you do have a few uncles, like, do you feel like that helps? Of course, nobody could replace your father, but does that kind of make it a little more bearable that you do have them and y'all all look alike? So it's like,
they do all look alike.
She said, "Dad, you do too. You look like them. You like your mother a little bit, but you look like them."
She get it pretty from me.
She loves saying
that. You said she what?
She get it pretty from me.
I'm crying, but you a mix of both of them, but you look like them.
No. Because as I said, some of them don't even
Well,
come around.
The uncle that does reach out, does that make you feel like you kind of still got a part of him? Do that make you feel better?
Because
like,
when I stare at him, when I see the stuff that Uncle Bill gonna be doing, I'll be like, dang, that's my father. Like some of the stuff that be doing, how he be looking, like just random things. Right. I be feeling like that's my father. Like even his hands, I be staring at his hands, look just like my father's hands. So yeah, answer that question. Yeah.
All right, so we kind of got into like who your father was to you, your relationship. Now we're gonna kind of switch gears a little bit, and I want you to tell us like when you found out like what happened and your father passed. Where were you? Like, tell us about your day that day.
My day, and it was on a Friday. And to make a connection, when I found out that my aunt Kelly passed away, it was on a Friday too.
Wow.
Yes, and I was thinking about her that whole day, and this day I was thinking about my father the entire day. I didn't know why, but I was thinking about him. But I think because every Friday we used to go to Benihana's, that's what it's called? Yeah, we used to go to Benihana's. And we would get
money. She said every Friday.
I mean, not Benihana's. Where was it? I'm thinking of something like islandy. Coney Islands is yeah. So we would go to Coney Islands every Friday. And I was thinking about like the shrimp.
I'm crying.
And all that. So I was thinking about it, but this particular day, my grandmother came to pick me up. Not my father. No, grandma came to pick me up. It was grandma. Yeah. Okay. So my mama came to pick me up, and I'm like, oh, where my father at? Obviously, she can't tell me yet. Mm-hmm. She knew, but she couldn't tell me yet. So I'm like, where my father at? You know? And then I'm talking about my snake because he bought the snake a day before, like literally yesterday. So if we thinking about the thing, yesterday. So I'm telling her about how my father bought the snake and how my snake name is Royalty and all that other stuff. We're just talking, and I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to see my daddy. Like, I'm just saying all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, yeah, let's go here because me and my father go here every Friday. Mm-hmm. So we in there, we eating, all that other stuff. I just keep talking about my father, just keep ranting about my father. So then I was like, where my mother at? She was like, oh, she gonna meet us, right? So we was in a KFC parking lot, and my mother came, my uncle on my mother's side had came, and her daughter, my cousin.
Need to pass the puffs.
Here.
You catch?
Oh, you mean I'm dumb? I said, what the fuck is the puffs? Go ahead.
So, basically, we was in the KFC parking lot. All of KFC, I'm like, oh, we about to go to Sky's also? Like, I'm thinking we about to go somewhere fun. So then, out of nowhere, like, you know, I'm smiling and I'm talking about my father still.
Right.
Out of nowhere, I'm looking around, everybody crying. So I'm like, like, I'm being awkward. I'm like, what y'all crying for? So then my mother came up to me, hugging me. I'm like, don't tell me, because I want to cry. I said, don't tell me. I don't want to cry. Just don't tell me. So then she like, you got to know. I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know, right? So then she told me. And at first, I remember I was just sitting there. And I pinched myself.
Nah, this kid is crazy. Cause that's some me shit,
I pinched myself, and I'm like, yo, this real. So then out of nowhere, I started screaming in the air for my father. I'm like, yo. And then I remember, like, this man or lady was walking past, and they probably thought I was getting kidnapped or something. I'm screaming in the air, and I'm like, right? So then, you know, my mother trying to calm me down. They all trying to calm me down. And I just remember after that, I wasn't even talking. I was just, like, trying to process the whole thing. And I was just thinking about, like, not at that moment, but after. I remember the night before, I was supposed to go, my father was staying with my grandmother. And I was supposed to go to my grandmother's house that night.
Right.
And the day after, my Uncle Big One found him in the bathroom. And I was thinking about, like, what if I was to find him in the bathroom? So I'm glad I wasn't there. But at first, I was just like, I didn't believe it. I thought it was like a big old prank. Because you know when you watching pranks on YouTube and stuff, I'm thinking it's a big old prank. Like, y'all pranking me. But it wasn't. It was real.
So considering, like, you know, you was 10, you was young, you thought it, you know, it was a prank and shit like that. How were you, like, at what point did you realize, like, yo, this shit is really happening? Like,
I think when his funeral was on his birthday. And it was on his birthday. His funeral was on his birthday.
Not one's birthday.
It was. It was on his birthday. I remember. Everybody told me.
I'm crying.
Everybody said it was on his birthday. So
everybody told me.
Yeah, everybody told me. I remember. So it was on his birthday, and I didn't cry at first. But I just remember, like, seeing some people, but then not seeing some people. So I was just thinking, like, dang, some people didn't really care.
Right.
Or, like, you know, some people didn't show up. And then I remember seeing his father. No, we gonna talk about this. I remember seeing his father, and he kissed me on the cheek, and I wiped it off.
Me, yo, is this my daughter? I gotta swap her, yo. I gotta swap this kid.
Cause what are you doing? Like, you wasn't here. You don't know him.
How you wiped it off?
In front of his face, I just wiped it off. And I remember, like, my cousins was like, touch your father. I said no, because I was scared if he was going to wake up and say, boo.
No way.
So, I remember my father Muslim, so they was doing, like, the whole prayer thing. And at that moment, that's when I started crying, and I started realizing, like, oh, he's actually about to go under. Like, he's about to be buried now.
Right.
So, I remember my Uncle Big One ex-girlfriend, Yazzie. She came up to me and she was just comforting me. She was very comforting. Oh my goodness. Even though I don't even see her as much, I still be seeing her. But she's like, she's one of the people that was there too.
And that's something you never gonna forget. Like when something like that happened, it's like you remember who wasn't there and who was, like...
Yes, and she was one of the people that was... I hope she see this. Because she was one of the people that was there. And, yeah, she comforted me. I was on my mother's lap, but she was comforting me. Like, she stopped her prayer to come over and hug me while everybody else was just looking. And she came over. So, yeah. But, yeah, after that, I was kind of, like, you know, happy. I was asking my mother a lot of questions. And I remember, so... with the culture and the religion, only the men get to, like, they get to go up there, and the women have to stay back, and then only the men get to bury him, like, and I was like, why can't I do it? That's weird. Like, I want to do it too. And then, yeah, after that, I don't know what we went after that. I don't think he had an after pass.
He had a what?
An after pass, but that's what you call it?
A repass.
Oh.
An after pass.
Yeah, we ate. Oh, okay. Yeah, we ate.
Y'all did? Was it good?
I don't know.
That'd be the best food. I don't know.
It be the best food.
I don't know if funeral food the best or baby shower food. I don't know. You might gotta flip a coin.
Nah, we
shit.
do. Cause that baby shower food do be good.
I don't know which is better, but Alright, so if you could tell your father anything, like if he here right now, cause he here in spirit or whatever. But if he was here face to face right now, what's one thing you would want to tell him? 2 things, 3, whatever it is that you would want to tell him.
One thing I want to tell him is that, you know, I'm proud that he, like, I'm not proud that he left, but I'm proud that he left at the same time. Because you was doing all that, and you was hurting your body, you was hurting yourself. So I'm glad that you left. But I'm not glad that you left because you left me without a father. I'm not glad that you didn't. Well, he did try, but he didn't try hard enough.
Try what?
To recover and not, like, do it. Even though I know it's not that easy.
Right.
But it's like, still, you ain't try hard enough for me.
Right.
But I'm glad he left my mother in the position where she could take care of me, like, financially.
Right.
And that I never went without, like, not eating or, like, not having a place to stay. Like, if it was up to me or her having a place to lay down, it would be me, and she would lay in her car, like, type. So I'm glad that he left her in a position where she could, you know, take care of me. But I'm not glad that he left the way that he left. Because as I was saying, I was going through puberty and stuff. And, you know, I ain't like that.
So you think, like, would you say, like, that kind of affected it a little more because that was going on? You know, as women, our hormones be all, you know, out of whack and stuff. So.
Yes, I feel like I was spazzing on people way more. I was.
So you kind of reacted angrily to it. And was it, like, were you angry that he was going, like, what made you so angry during that time?
That I didn't know how I was feeling.
Damn.
Yeah, I didn't know how to feel about the whole thing, so I just was mad. Like, every time somebody asked me about it, I was just like, leave me alone, please.
Oh, I got a good question to ask you, right? So, again, going back to me and my friend who was last episode, we always talk about how people don't have death etiquette, right? So, I was one of the first. I lost my brother, she lost her brother, and I feel like I was one of the first ones. It was nobody really around me who really experienced a close loss like that, right? So I feel like people would ask me, like, the craziest stuff, and they'd be like, in my head, it's like, why would you ask somebody that? Like, that's like one of your friends in school, hey, how'd your dad die? You'd be like,
why? Yo, I don't ever ask me something
people
like that.
do stuff like that. I've had plenty of people ask me, like, yeah, so instead of just saying, oh, I'm sorry for your loss, they'd be like, oh, so how'd he die? Like, and that's something we always talk about, like, why are people like this? And what we talked about is basically people don't know that that's the wrong thing to say if they never experienced it.
Me personally, I never got asked that. I feel like people know not to ask that to me. Like, I don't know if I'm just that type of person that's just like, don't ask me that.
Well, not even just that. In general, has anybody ever asked you anything about your father or his death that made you uncomfortable and had you kind of looking like, what's wrong with her? Like, why would she say that? Like, no. I'm
glad.
Good.
Because I feel like I'll hook somebody for that.
Because some
like,
people
why would
really
you
don't
ask
know.
Me that? Yeah.
And I guess maybe people that was around you kind of was sensitive to it because you were young. But I wanted to know, like, if you had anybody in school, kind of, because kids are dumb. So.
Nah, I ain't really tell nobody for real. But the people who I did tell, you know, they was very respectful and they was like, just sorry for your loss. And one thing I used to say, I'd be like, oh, you don't have to be sorry, you ain't do it.
Right. No, that's me too. Yo, I got swallow, yo. I really do. This is crazy, but because I always feel awkward when people be like, "Oh, I'm sorry for your loss." I be like, "Do you say thank you?" Like
exactly. I just be like okay.
And it'd be awkward as hell. Like,
yeah, like why would you even say sorry?
Yeah, like I'm sorry to hear that, and it's like I get what you're trying to do, but I don't know.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Like, what do you say back? Like weird. But yeah. So if you could give, let's say, another little girl you meet, and you find out, like, let's say some girl in your school tomorrow, her dad passes, and she comes to you because, you know, she knows you experienced that. What advice would you give her?
I would tell her to, honestly, I'd tell her just to not think the worst about things. Like, that your life is over. Even though it feels like it's over and it's going to feel like it's over for a few years. Don't think it's over because it's not over. Life is worth living. You still gonna have fun. You still gonna go to parties, experience life, like all that other stuff. You still gonna do stuff. It's not the end of the world, even though it feels like it. Right. I would just tell her, like, it's not the end of the world. You'll be fine. Just go through it how you go through it. Grieve how you grieve. You know. Just let people know if you don't want to be bothered. Just let people know you don't want to be bothered. You know. All that other stuff. I just tell her that. That's
good advice. But you said earlier, right? You didn't really like to talk about it, right? So when you just said, like, what you would tell her or whatever, when did you feel like, damn, it's not the end of the world? Because you're not expressing yourself. So that means everybody around you, they probably looking at you like, oh, she's probably okay. But you're thinking about it every day, so you know what you feel like. So
I felt like it this is going to be funny. I feel like it wasn't the end of the world when the world was ended in 2020. When COVID happened, that's when I kind of was like, no, after COVID. When, I mean, COVID's still here, but like when we start going back and stuff, that's when I was like, oh, it's not the end of the world. But during COVID, I'm like, dang, like, what's all this happening in my life? Like, what is going on?
Right.
So, yeah.
Would you feel like, so you said COVID, right? Boom, that happened. Your father passed or whatever. I forgot what I was going to say just that fast. Wow, that's so crazy. What the fuck was I about to say? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, you said it wasn't the end of the world, right? So, being as though at such a young age, you experienced, like, something very traumatic for you to be a kid, right? How do you feel about, like, life in general? Like, let's say if something happens where you get into an argument with somebody, like, do you ever feel like, it's not that serious, I lost my father? Like, do you feel like a lot of stuff is not that deep because you did experience something so traumatic like that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Like, I used to argue with my cousin a lot. Oh, we besties now. But we used to argue a lot. And, yeah, of course, my bestie. But, you know, we used to argue a lot, and every time we would argue, I'd be like, I'd say something like, I'm not finna sit and argue with you like my father did. Like, I'll say something, I'll always bring him up because my father is dead, and you over here trying to argue with me?
Right.
Me? So, yeah, that, I feel like I felt like that. Like, not everything was worth the argument.
Right. So, Courtney.
Yes.
I have a question for you. I kind of asked you already, but since we're here, I'm kind of... Oh, I thought it was clapping. I was about to say, what is over? She told y'all she was a big bag. She ain't lie. But yeah, so...
Yeah, I'm trying to open it quietly.
You know, since, you know, you in the room, you sitting here, you listening to her talk or whatever. Have you ever heard her express herself about the situation ever? Like, to this extent before?
Not to this extent. Yeah, she's definitely given a lot of insight on how she felt back then, and how it affected her. I mean, even though I know it affected her because, you know, like she said, it'll be times she'd be in school and she just called me because she just started bawling over him, you know, randomly. And, you know, she'll have those moments where she'll just start crying and I have to comfort her. And then we'll have to bring him into the space because, nigga, you in spirit, pull up. So, you know, we'll all just sit there and kind of discuss, you know, the good times and how he's not hurting anymore, things like that. So it's a more mature aspect to it. A more mature aspect to it. Like she said, we discussed it a little bit earlier about, how it happened and whatnot. So
wait, for the first time today?
To the extent that we did.
Oh, okay.
To the extent that we did. So because even though there's been times where we discussed it, because it definitely wasn't happening at 10. Right. That I'm like, yo, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? But it was, I know gradually over the years, I began to kind of discuss how,
right.
So today I was even like, yeah, so if she actually got, what do you want to say? Because I'm like, yeah, did
now I was trying to baby step into it, like.
And what I tell you?
What?
What I tell you after?
What'd you say?
I said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, because I really, I didn't want to, because I've known, like, you didn't know because you was little.
Well, I'm good.
But
y'all told me.
Yeah, so, like, and then me and her talked about it a while ago. Like, because I've been wanting you to come on here. But you were younger. Yeah. So we've been talked about it, and she basically said she wanted to have that conversation with you about, how everything really went, like, as you got older or whatever. So I'm like, I don't really know.
No, it's fine. You can ask.
No, I know I didn't ask you what I wanted to ask, but I'm saying I came into it not really knowing because for so long I've known, like, how that felt for her. Like, damn, I don't know. Like, I got to have this conversation. I don't really, whatever, like that. So I kind of didn't. I don't know. And then me and her never revisited it. Like, how did it go? Like, so I ain't know, like,
I was super busy. But yeah, no, she's equipped to speak without.
So,
I knew. That's
so before we go, right, since, we got that part out of the way because we are running out of time. But this girl opened the damn bag of chips upside down. I'm crying. But no, again, I said my friend at last episode, her brother, similar situation, right? She's older than me, and I was scared to kind of, because I have deaf etiquette, so I'll be kind of like, don't be knowing how to, like, if I should say that, like, even if my approach when I say it isn't off, it's like, it still could, I know how that feel, like, to be like, awkward, I'm on camera, did this bitch just ask me this? Like, so, again, the last episode was basically drug abuse, drug addiction, or whatever like that. How would you say you feel about that, knowing everything now, like, that you're older? Like, what would you say, like, as far as spreading awareness goes? Like, how do you feel about that? Like,
one thing I should tell you, I knew when I was younger.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yes, I knew. Like, I remember. You remember what I told you earlier? How, how the how you go to school and they give you like a no drug slip. I gave it to my father because I knew. Wow. Yeah, I gave it to him, and I knew because I remember. My grandmother's like, oh, I feel at ease because I know how he passed away. So I asked her, I said, how he passed away? She was like, oh, toxic in his blood. I said, what's toxic? She said, oh, I don't know. She was being around the bush at first. Then she was like, drugs. I'm like, oh, okay, put two and two together.
And another reason why I did want to have your episode after my friend's episode, because another thing she said was, this is how I found out, actually, sitting at this table. I never knew how her brother died because I never asked. Like, I just know what happened, and I just didn't want... So, what happened? Like, if she didn't say it, I wasn't going to ask her. I found out interviewing her what happened. And she basically was saying, like, it's not talked about enough or whatever. She was saying, like, how people, like... Because it's drugs, so a lot of people might be maybe embarrassed to say, like, this is how this happened. But people go through it. So, it's like... It's good to talk about. A lot of people kind of want to be on the low with it. Like, oh, I don't want to say, oh, he used to do drugs or whatever. But really, that is something that we do need to talk about because it's a lot of people dealing with that. Whether they story end tragically or whether they get it together, it's like, it's something that, especially in the hood, like, it's so many people that, especially going through, like, imagine you would end up like, okay, I'm going to do drugs now. Like, let me find this way to cope because... I seen like, it or whatever. Like,
I feel
so
like
that's why I'm saying, how is your outlook on it? Like, do you feel like, obviously you're not going to do it, but then some people might do it. Like, just because that happened, it'll make somebody like, all right, I'm about to do it too, because I feel like that'll ease my pain or what I'm going through or whatever. So how would you say you look at drugs?
Being that, like, I be watching movies, and I feel feel like, okay, one thing is the movies make it look cool sometimes. Like, you know, to younger audience. Like the sniffing and stuff. First of all, how can you even sit there and sniff something from your nose without like sneezing
and like lifted? What you mean?
No, what? You gotta sniff that? No,
yeah, no,
first probably, of all, that's uncomfortable. Cause you know how you take the COVID test, and no, that's even uncomfortable. So how you just, and then like, means that I see how it happened to my father. I don't want to die at a young age, and then seeing how seeing now how my mother's doing, cause she ain't show me how it felt. Right. When I was younger and she knew that he was doing it. But when she told me, I'm like, dang, I don't want her going through that. Because I'm her daughter. She birthed me. Right. So it's like she going to take it way harder because I'm her daughter. Right. And then I don't want to follow in my father's footprints. Even though he was
not a follower, guys. Y'all heard that?
Yeah, he's a good person, but like with that, no. And it's like seeing him high or like, you know, drowsy and stuff like that. It was like really weird to see that, because I remember this one time we was at the store and he put some glasses on. He was like, oh, do I look like, do my eyes look low?
Oh, I was about to say, do he look like who?
No,
Lil Wayne or something? I no, he was about to say some bullshit.
He was like, do my eyes look low or something like that? And I'm like, no, you look good. And he like, okay, cause you know I want some of your mother, like, you know, impress her, cause he still was on top of that. But like he just didn't want you to see him like that no more. So he put the glasses on. Right. Yeah. So he asked me, and my father, believe it or not, my father used to be telling me a lot, like a lot. So that's why I already knew about it. I already knew it. He ain't tell me directly, but I knew that he was doing it. Cause you learn about drugs when you're younger. Right. So I already knew that my father was doing drugs, and I know that it was happening, and I just knew about it. Like, I knew that one of the reasons that he didn't live with us was because of that too. Even though I was like, mad at my mother, I just knew. Right. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't recommend it.
Would not recommend. 0 out of 10. Don't do drugs, okay? You heard that? Okay.
Don't do drugs, kids.
But adults too. Don't do that shit. Unless it's weed, then I'll give y'all a pass. But what I was gonna say, so thank you for coming through, because, you know, I told you I was a little scared, walking on eggshells a little bit, just because I know, in general, it's sensitive. And again, I feel like I'm so understanding with death, because I lost so many people that, and I've been asked crazy shit, so it kind of make me like tiptoe into, you know, talking about this kind of stuff.
Now you did good.
But don't play with your father on this walkout, Millie, for real. Don't play with him. Whose daughter are you? And don't just say his name. Say what they be saying, like
Courtney and Malc Man.
Oh, right. You who daughter?
Malc Man.
Oh, right. Say that again with your chest.
Malc Man.
All right, Malc Man forever. We out of here.